What's going on, guys? It's Unknown Player here, and in this video we'll be rounding up a bunch of the loot I've picked up in the past week, which includes strike specific loot, Vanguard and Crucible packages, hunting that longbow and LDR of course. We've got Variks weapons, faction packages, and also some Crucible weekly bounties, so a ton of stuff in general to show off in this one video. There are some things I didn't include simply because they're pretty boring by now. No one really cares if we've got a future walkout bond for the 50th time or some bad gauntlets, so we're only going to be looking at the best of the best and the most interesting loot I've gotten so far in the week. And like I said, there's a ton of stuff to get through, so let's begin with some of the strike loot. So from Darkblade in the Sunless Cell Strike, I picked up the 335 Darkblade Spite. This is the fusion rifle, very similar in look to the Grasp of Malok, but this thing has Battle Runner and Eye of the Storm, so really awful perks. I never had one of these things, so it's cool to have one, but the perks on this are quite bad, so I'm not sure whether it's worth keeping or infusing. It is 335, so that would make some good fuel, but I don't know. Let me know in the comment section, is the weapon actually good? Is the Darkblade Spite fusion rifle any good, or is it worth kind of waiting for some good perks? I'm not sure whether to keep this thing or not. The next strike-specific loot item I got was from a Nightfall strike, and this is a 335 Void Flare Mantle, so the Void Flare Cloak, which is pretty cool. I love these things. It looks so great. I think they're some of the best designed items in Destiny. I actually already have a Void one. I'm still missing the Arc. I've got the Solar and the Void already. This thing is really cool, and it came at 335, which is nice as well. In terms of perks, it is the same as my original Void one, which is Discipline and Strength, so not too great in that field, but it is 335, so I'm pretty happy with this thing. Now, the next Nightfall, I actually picked up some 330 HELIOPAUSE gauntlets. These things are decent. They've got Intellect and Discipline and also Sniper Reload, which is pretty cool. So I might keep these things around simply because of the stats, and maybe if I need to trade them out or something else. But these things are pretty good. But in general, I'm not really too impressed with the Nightfall loot. That's why I don't run many of them. I feel like in year 2, they're very boring and slow, and the modifiers can make them really difficult as well. Even though you don't get booted to orbit, if you wipe, they're pretty drawn out, and the modifiers make it a real grind. So I don't really feel like they're worth grinding for some 330 faction armor. And I'd rather if they change it back to how it was, where you actually get booted to orbit if you wipe, if the loot was actually better and you get 335 stuff and loads more exotics. But right now, don't really seem that worth it, and that's why you don't see me run too many Nightfall strikes. Now, moving on to the Vanguard, this is what is definitely worth it, because of course you can get the LDR and some really awesome year 1 weapons, and that is exactly what I got. So the first one is a 330 Comedian, which is basically the same as the one I got last week, literally identical in terms of the main perks, but this one is also Arc. So I'm going to keep it simply because it's a different element, and it'll be handy to have in PvE, because this archetype and also the perks on this shotgun are perfect for PvE, so I'm going to keep this one around simply because it's got a different element. If I need it, then I'll use this as well. In my next Vanguard package, I picked up a 330 W. Again, this is a really nice hand cannon from year 1 that was brought back, but this one doesn't have great perks. It came with partial refund and Grenadier, so pretty bad. I've already got one with Outlaw, which I really love in PvE, so this one isn't too great in comparison. And now moving into the Crucible side of things, starting off with the Crucible weekly bounties, open up 2 of them. The first one got 20 strange coins, and the second one 19 strange coins, so pretty similar right there. And again, like I said before, I don't mind strange coins. I'm pretty happy with them, and there's not really much other stuff that I can get from Crucible weekly bounties apart from 335 stuff, but I'm pretty happy with nearly 40 strange coins. Now into the Crucible packages, only the important ones did get a ton of gauntlets and bonds, which I'm not going to show you guys. Into the important stuff, I did get another longbow, if you believe it, but I managed to get even worse perks than my first one. If you see my video showing off my first ever longbow that I got, the perks are pretty bad. It's usable just barely, but it's pretty bad. Now this one is even worse, if you can actually imagine that is possible. The scopes are just completely awful, not even a Hawkeye, and the middle perks are just awful. I did get a quick draw, which got me really excited when I first saw it. And I went over to the scopes just hoping for anything usable, any low zoom one like the short gaze 10, the long view 10, or the ambush, and I didn't even get any one of those. I didn't even get Hawkeye, which is kind of usable. I did get a Taxis at the bottom, which is I guess kind of usable. It's mid zoom, but the rest are just so bad, and I was so disappointed. Like I said, quick draw is probably the best perk you can get in the middle column for PvP, and that would make it amazing. I would be so happy if I just got a quick draw and a decent scope. I would be completely done with the longbows, and I'd be happy. I would retire and just be satisfied with this one. But Shaxx just doesn't seem to be wanting to cooperate, and this thing just isn't even good enough to use. I'm probably just going to dismantle it, and it's not even 335, so I can't really infuse it into something. So that's disappointing. Did get a longbow, but not too great. Now moving on to the next package, we managed to pick up a 330 Ruin Wake. This is a really good LMG, but not really great perks on this one. I actually have a better one that I picked up at the very start of the Taken King. It was my main heavy weapon I use, a really solid weapon. So with the right perks, it can be a solid machine gun, but these ones aren't too great. Now, from a random legendary engram, I wasn't really paying too much attention, and I just opened them all, and I did manage to get a 1,000-yard stare. Now, as you guys probably know, I don't even have a PvP 1,000-yard stare. The one that I have, that I've used for the entire Taken King, that I always use in PvP and trials, is actually a PvE sniper. It's got like triple tap and really good perks for PvE. Does not have any PvP perks at all. All it's got is some good scopes. So I'm still out there for a good PvP version, and this one is definitely not that. This one has just really bad scopes. I didn't even think I could see a worse sniper, but the scopes are awful. They're all long range, and the perks are bad. So once again, I'm still looking for a good 1,000-yard. My sniper luck just doesn't seem to be on point right now, but hopefully one day soon I will actually get a good PvP sniper rifle. Now let's go over to Variks in the Reef and take a look at a bunch of stuff I got from him. I have 4 of the 30k score weapon packages on the Sigil, and 1 from last week and 3 from this week, and also a Variks package, so a ton of stuff to look at. Firstly, in the weapon package, we've got a 335 Queen's Choice sidearm. This thing is pretty unique as like a reskin of the Vestian Dynasty, so I'm looking forward to using this thing and I might keep it around. It is 335, which I'm pretty happy with as well. The next one, I've got a 334 Her Revenge, which is a hand cannon. This is the Hawk Moon kind of rate of fire and impact style. It's got spray and play, which is pretty good, so I might keep this thing around and use it in PvE. And then the next one, I've got a TECHEUN Rage Fusion Rifle. Not a fan of this one, it's low impact and high charge rate, so I'm not really too sure about this one. The perks are pretty bad, and it is 334, so I'll probably just end up infusing into something else. And the final Variks weapon is the Lethe No Bleed Scout Rifle. This thing has awful perks, and it's basically the same fire rate impact as the Dis 43, which is pretty good, but the perks on this aren't too great. So once again, probably infusing, and it is 335, so it'll make some good infusion fuel. And now I didn't actually get any armor pieces, just the weapons you might notice, and that's simply because I don't really think it's worth the time. Like the armor pieces, there aren't really great ones you can get, and I don't really like the look of most of them, so I tend to just hop on and get the 30k on all my characters and get 3 weapons. And there are some really impressive Queen's weapons you can get, like the Her Fury Sniper is really decent. It's basically the same as a 1000 yard, and that is what I'm definitely going to be after. And now finally, let's look at the Variks rank up package. You can get some really awesome weapons from these. The Auto Rifle, which is called the Soul Stealer's Claw. That thing is better than the Doctrine if you get the right perks, so that's what I'm after. And now from my package, I picked up a 330 Sturden Pride. This is a really fast rate of fire and low impact hand cannon. It's got rifle barrel for range, quick draw, which is pretty good, and also hidden hand, and it's a fast fire rate one. Pretty much like the Thorn, you can just spam the trigger. So I might have to give this thing a go. It's pretty cool. In that package as well, I also picked up a House of Devils that's shipped from Variks, which is black and red, and I quite like the design of this thing. And now finally, let's look at some faction packages. From Dead Orbit, I picked up a 330 SPEKTAR HELIOPAUSE grips for the Hunter. These things have Intellect Discipline, Chroma, and also Sniper Reload, so pretty good here. From the next one, I got a 330 Paleo Contact. This is the Dead Orbit Auto Rifle, which is actually a really great weapon. With the right perks, it can be incredible in Crucible, so I'm after the one with right perks, but these ones aren't too great. But if you get a Paleo Contact with the right perks, it can be pretty decent. And now the final package from New Monarchy, got a 330 Righteous 7. Once again, this is a very good auto rifle if you get the right perks, but this one isn't too great in itself. So that has been a roundup of a ton of loot. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. As always, drop a like rating if you did, I'd appreciate that. Subscribe for more videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.